Hi friends, do you know which is the oldest civilization in the world? Any guess? Yes, you guessed it right. It is the Indus Valley Civilization, which was there between 2500 BC to 1500 BC in various parts of India as well as in Pakistan. So today, let us learn about various features about this Indus Valley Civilization. So first of all, let's look into the roots of discovery of this Indus Valley civilization. In 1853, E. Cunningham, a British engineer, noticed a Harappan seal, but he never realized the importance of that seal and let it go. Again, later on, in 1856, when the British government decided to lay a railway line from Multan to Lahore, the workers noticed some burned bricks nearby. They were hard and suitable for laying the tracks. Hence they used it for laying the tracks, but they never realized that they were standing on the very prestigious as well as very relevant site of Harappa. Again after that, much later in 1921, the site of Harappa was excavated by Mr. Dayaram Sahini in the present Pakistan. It was Mr. R.D. Banerjee who led the excavations in Mohenjo-daro, the present Sindh in Pakistan during the same time. Both of them discovered pottery and other antiquities indicative of the developed civilization in Harappa. Large-scale excavations under Sir John Marshall, then director of the Archaeological Survey of India, was carried on extensively. Later on, several historians and archaeologists from Pakistan as well as from India jointly excavated the areas even after post-independence. Now about the spread of Indus Valley civilization. It is said that the Harappan civilization stretched across the region ranging from the western part of Pakistan to Alimgarh in Uttar Pradesh in the east and from Kashmir in the north to the Narmada Valley in the south. The period of this civilization is generally placed between 2500 BC to 1500 BC. Now about the features of their cities. Number one is their bricks. The key feature of the Harappan city was the use of hard burnt bricks. All the buildings were built of burnt bricks. The use of burnt bricks in the Harappan cities is remarkable because in the contemporary buildings of Egypt, dried bricks were primarily used. We find the use of baked bricks in the contemporary Mesopotamia, but they were used to a much larger extent in the Harappan cities. Since we talked about bricks, let's talk about the use of bricks, that is, making of house. Houses were built along both sides of planned streets. They were of varying structures. Some houses had only one room, whereas others had many rooms, a courtyard and a well as well. Every house had a toilet. Okay, now we talked about a toilet, so let's look at the drainage system of Harappa. The drainage system of Mohenjo-daro was very impressive. The wastewater from the house was let out into the drains. These drains were connected to the main drain of the street. The drains were built of burnt bricks and covered with stone slabs. Effective drainage systems existed even in small towns and villages. Its remains had been found in Banavali. Altogether, the quality of domestic bathrooms and the drains are remarkable, and the drainage system of Harappa is almost unique. Perhaps no other Bronze Age civilization paid so much attention to health and cleanliness as did the Harappan civilization. In Mohenjo-daro, a great tank called the Great Bath was discovered. It is an evidence for the architectural skills of the people of that period. It was built entirely with burnt bricks comprising of a tank which is situated in the citadel mounds. Flights of steps at either end leads to the surface, and there are side rooms for changing clothes. Water was drawn from a large well in the adjacent room, and the outlet was from the corner of the bath which leads to a drain. It has been suggested that the Great Bath was primarily intended for the ritual bathing, which has been so vital to any religious ceremony in India. The large tank found in Dholavira may be compared to a great bath. If we talk about the agriculture and granary system which was there in Indus Valley Civilization, we can say that there were very big buildings with a facility to dry and store grains. The remains of wheat, barley, millets, sesame, pulses, etc. have been found at Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lothal, etc. Evidences of rice cultivation have been uncovered from Rangpur and Lothal in Gujarat. Cotton was also cultivated during that time. The urban folk depended on the villagers for food and clothing. The villagers were the major market for the urban folks. In Mohenjo-daro, the largest building was the granary of 45.71 meter long and 15.23 meter wide. A series of brick platforms formed the basis for 2 rows of 6 granaries in Mohenjo-daro. To the south of the granaries at Harappa lay working floors consisting of the rows of circular brick platforms. These were evidently meant for threshing grains because wheat and barley were found in the crevices of the floor. Harappa also had 2-roomed barracks which possibly accommodated laborers. The agricultural fields in the villages were very fertile. It is the alluvial soil deposited by the river Indus that made them very fertile. In Kalibangan in Rajasthan, farming was done by plowing the land. Various canals were also constructed for the purpose of irrigation. The surplus agricultural products were stored in the granaries. The grains collected in the form of revenue were also kept there. The grains thus stored were made available to the public. Such granaries are the evidences for the existence of an efficient administrative system. About the domestication of animals. Although the Harappans practiced agriculture, animals were raised on a large scale basis. Plenty of animal bones have been unearthed from here. The figures of rhinoceros and elephants made of clay have been found. They reared ox, goats, pigs and sheep. There are evidences of dogs and cats from the outset and even of the camels and asses. Now if we talk about the trade and commerce during the Indus Valley Civilization, we can say that the importance of trade, the life of the Indus people is supported not only by the granaries found at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Lothal, but also by the findings of numerous seals, uniform scripts and regulated weights and measures covering a wide area. The Harappans conducted considerable trade in stones, metals, shells, etc. within the Indus culture zone. The agricultural progress led to the surplus production and storage of grains. Accurate weighs and measures were used for exchanging the stored products. Weighing and measuring tools, uniform scripts, numerous seals, etc. have been unearthed from here. They did not use metal money and in all possibility carried out exchanges through a barter system. The inscriptions discovered from Mesopotamia mentions their trade relations with Meluha. Historians opine that Meluha is probably Harappa. The Mesopotamian seals found from Harappa also provide the evidences of this trade link. Lothal was one of the centers of maritime trade. The clay models of sailing ships obtained also provide their maritime trade links. The Harappans had commercial links with Rajasthan and also with Afghanistan and Iran. The Harappans carried on long distance trade in lapis lazuli. Lapis objects may have contributed to the social prestige of the ruling class in the Indus Valley Civilization. Now we talk about the handicrafts and jewelry during the time of Harappan civilization. The rise of the towns in the Indus zone was based on agricultural services, the making of bronze tools, various other crafts and widespread trade and commerce. This is known as the first urbanization in India, and the Harappan urban culture belongs to the Bronze Age. The people of Harappa used many tools and implements of stone, but they were very well acquainted with the manufacture and use of bronze. The seals, clay figures, utensils, ornaments, etc. dug out from Harappa bears witness to their craftsmanship. The ruins of kilns where pottery was produced have been widely dug out. Ornamental works were done on clay pots. Animal figures were molded from clay. Figures of men and women and carts have also been uncovered from clay. Copper, bronze and gold were used to make ornaments. Evidences of centers where beads were made have been unearthed in Lothal. Bangles were made from clay, bronze and tortoise shells. Now about the religious practices in Harappa. In Harappa, numerous terracotta figurines of women have been found. In a figure, a plant is shown growing out of the embryo of a woman. The image probably represents the goddess of earth and was intimately connected with the origin of growth of plants. An image of three-horned heads sitting in a posture of a yogi. This image is identified as Pashupati. Numerous symbols of Phalus worship have been found, which in later times become so intimately connected with Shiva. In the past 10 minutes, I was continuously talking about the various features of Indus Valley Civilization, such as the Great Bath, bricks, drainage system, houses, etc. The Harappan cities are indicative of well-planned growth. The Harappans produced their own characteristic pottery and seals, and above all, they invented their own script, which neither resembled the Egyptians nor the Mesopotamians. No contemporary culture spreads over such a wide area as did the Harappans. So we all must be proud of it. Thank you.